G'day there everyone, Professor Maple here. We're back on the Sprucecraft server, and just look at that view. Just look at that. Let's take a peek here. Isn't that just pretty? No water as far as the eye can see in that direction, and we still have a ways to go for getting rid of the water here, but there's definitely some progress here. Let's take a quick peek. We've got just a little past the witch farm on that side, and the grass has started growing in, which I think looks really cool with all the clay kind of intermingled around here. I'm not sure. Well, we'll have to half slab it all eventually, so I can't just like keep the clay as cool as it would be. But I think spooky noises. I think that would be kind of cool to keep later on if possible. Not here, but somewhere else. Anyway, so that's what I've been working on over at the witch farm. I've been doing the same thing at the guardian farm a little bit more, just not a ton. But today, what we're planning on doing here is not at the witch farm itself, but rather we need to fix this up. This is the nether tunnel that leads to the witch farm. As you can see, I kind of dug out a bunch of it just to prepare, but it's before and after still looks pretty much the same. It needs some TLC. So we're gonna sort of have like a room here, kind of ovaloid room, circular almost. And we're going to have a bit of a sort of a slanty ceiling. We're not going to see this shaft that used to go up to the old AFK spot for the witch farm, because that was a mistake. We need to hide that. And we also need to figure out the part that I have not planned is how to make it sort of fit onto this corner without looking weird. So that's what we're going to do today. Alright guys, so we are back on the XPD plot world dealy. I'm just going to take a look, because down there is my, well, essentially what I have planned for the nether tunnel. It's not going to be too fancy. It's going to look a bit more like the witch farm, sort of asymmetrical roof. I'm kind of sort of experimenting a little bit with like modern-ish design. I say ish because there are too many lines for it to really be modern, quote unquote. But yeah, that's where the portal's gonna go. We don't have access to actual portals on the server here, but I did put a placeholder. I decided to add some spruce leaf blocks just to make the floor not spawnable without having to use half slabs or without having to light the whole darn thing. I'm still going to use glowstone, but it's more just to light the main path there, because in the nether it's going to be a bit darker and gloomier presumably. So we have that, and then the tunnel proper, it's just a modular design like this. I've got the nether brick fences there. I wasn't really sure when I designed this, because I did want to just stick with the half slabs and the nether brick that were used in the witch farm itself. Wasn't too sure how to really use those effectively together, exclusively. So this is what we've got, and if you have any suggestions as to especially the ceiling there, I put the stripe down it just to give it some more color than the half slabs, but I'm not entirely convinced by it. So yeah, definitely leave a suggestion in the comments, or find me on Twitter and leave a screenshot of something that you might come up with. But that's essentially what we're doing. I'm not too concerned about how it looks on the outside, because no one's ever going to see it. It's underground in the nether. So there's that. We also have, for those of you who recognize maybe the side view, I'd say we've got this little hub piece from the nether tunnel to will be the Guardian farm. That's that there. And then we're also going to have a branch to a future project or other future projects. I'm not sure. And of course, you recognize the sort of vault testing area. And here we have a section of the nether tunnel as it is coming out of my base area. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. This is looking alright. I'm just trying to figure out if there are other ways I can use some of the materials that I've got in here without it looking silly or anything. So we'll see about that. But anyway, I'm gonna plot on and sort of get this started up and see if there's anything else I can do to decorate it a bit more, because it is rather plain looking, I will admit. But yeah, definitely comment or tweet me if you have any suggestions for this build, because it's a little bland. Alright guys, so we're back, and I haven't made any progress quite yet, just because I wanted to talk to you guys about E3. Yep, it's E3 time right now. By the time you get this video, it'll have been last week, I guess. But just figured I'd do a little bit of talking while we're trying to build here. See if I can multitask. If I can, it'll be a first, that's for sure. And I already have this one too low, or I have the portal one too high. But it's easier to move these than the portal, so we're just gonna go by that. And maybe, oh no, okay, that's why. Main floor levels. Okay, right. Alrighty, so yes, E3. We've seen some good things. I have seen the some of Nintendo's plans, and they're from the live streams, of course. I wasn't able to go. I'm never able to go. But of course, as usual, Nintendo's doing alright. They didn't show a ton of new stuff. It was all just kind of mostly stuff like Mario Maker and Star Fox that we already knew they were working on. Which is fine. You know, they'll talk about what they're working on, and then if they want to surprise us, they will. But you know, it's a good lineup. I think I'm really liking the new Star Fox. I'm going to get that as long as I can afford to at the time, which I should. And it's really cool because they kept from an old unreleased Star Fox game. This sort of like the R-Wing turns into a walker thing, like a pterodactyl kind of velociraptor robot thing, which I think is really cool. And I don't know how many this will be, but we'll just set that up for there. And then there's also, well, those of you who know me well enough will know that I really love the Metroid games, more especially the Prime games. They were my first GameCube game when I was growing up. That's what got me into gaming other than Pokemon, like aside from just Pokemon. And you know, it's so the 3DS news they have for the Metroid Prime series is this sort of co-op multiplayer. Well, it'll have single player as well, from what I gleaned out of the interviews I've read. But it's essentially centered more around the Galactic Federation and the troopers there. It's going to be really hard to get in here with such a big hole in the way. So yeah, kind of centered around the Galactic Federation and doing mission-based gameplay, which I think is really cool. And a lot of people, like at first, I'll be honest, I saw the art style, and without seeing that it was a Metroid game, I didn't recognize it as being a Metroid game. Because they sort of released a short little teaser of the Blast Ball multiplayer first. and you know it looks pretty cool. But I didn't think it especially the art style, because it's kind of cartoony, presumably because of limitations in the 3DS hardware. Uh, looks kind of cartoony, and so I didn't really see it as a Metroid game. But when they said that, hey, by the way, this is a multiplayer mode in the new Metroid, you know, I kind of was, at first I was kind of shocked and not particularly happy with it. Because, you know, Metroid, in my mind, is supposed to be kind of like a dark and broody game series. And, you know, you brighten all the colors up, and you sort of give it this sports ball multiplayer kind of thing. And it doesn't seem to feel like Metroid anymore, right? And I'm just going to switch to a different... No, I can't in full screen. Anyway, I'll do that later. So it's definitely a bit different from now. And I know a lot of people weren't too happy with seeing that form of Metroid at first, for sure. And even still, it's only been a day or two since they revealed that. But I think that maybe people are overreacting to it a little bit. Like, it is a Metroid game, like, set in the universe, but the idea behind it is that they plan to expand the universe a bit more, which is hard to do from a from the usual. It's just Samus kind of tunnel visioning her own mission. And what is that, 3 blocks, I want to say, between 1, 2, 3, so next one would have to go there, I hope. I'll fix it later if I'm wrong, though, I guess. So there's that. And also, I think people keep forgetting, and we'll maybe only do a couple more there. People keep forgetting that we've kind of been asking for, a lot of us who are fans of the series, we've been asking for a co-op multiplayer, kind of like a Halo style game for a while in the Metroid Prime series, because a lot of fans feel that it would fit so well, and I am one of them. And so now that the developers have sort of tried to answer that, I feel like they're just being crapped on by fans who maybe are looking at the art style a bit too much in the sports ball multiplayer, and maybe judging it a bit too quickly. Because I know, I'll be honest, I definitely judged it first thing. Like, first image I saw, I was like, that's not Metroid, what are you doing? But just give the developers a chance and let them do what they're going to do, and then once the game's out, then sort of make your verdict, I would say, is maybe how best to approach it. Because, you know, the last thing you want to do is say, oh, we don't want this Metroid that we've actually been asking for a long time. And then the developers get cold feet, and then, especially since we haven't had a new Metroid game in so long. I say so long, but there was that other hiatus where it took them quite a while between Super Metroid and, was it Zero Mission or Fusion that came next? Or am I missing something completely? I don't remember. Anyway, so yeah, just give it a chance and let the developers do what they're gonna do. And then if after that it turns out to not be what everyone had really wanted, then sure, yeah, the developers might not make another Metroid game, but at least, you know, they won't be disappointing you like they did with Other M. And I liked Other M, but A lot of people didn't, and it didn't sell well in North America for sure. I don't really know about Japan, but in North America, like there are still in Walmart on my way to work copies of it at full price because it didn't sell. But yeah, just let the developers do what they want to do, and if you don't want another Metroid game for a long time again, then go ahead and complain and whine and moan about it, because that's generally what ends up happening. Is Nintendo especially, they won't touch a game that, or a series that the fans kind of don't want. Like there are exceptions to the rule, of course. There always are, but yeah, we kind of, as a Metroid fan, I would say just play the game. Then once it's released and once it's fully finished and all that, then sort of decide, and then please let them make another Metroid game, because they did say that Samus will appear in the one they're making now, and I forget the title of it off the top of my head. Yeah, so Metroid Prime Federation Force, that's the title of it. So definitely try it out when you get a chance, once they release either a demo or the full version or whatever. But that being said, you know, everyone's done a good job this E3. Everyone's sort of stepped up, and I haven't seen any bad highlights or press release or anything like that. Press conferences. I did see a little bit of Sony's stuff, and I haven't seen anything. Like, I'm not huge into Sony or Microsoft, but I really liked the Last Guardian trailer. It made it seem like it might actually come out at some point, which is good. And I also saw, I saw like a bunch of trailers for Sony games, and the Ubisoft's next Assassin's Creed looks alright. Looks pretty good. Like, I'm not big on Assassin's Creed, but industrial revolutionary England, you know, it's a bit different than the previous ones. And Microsoft's Illumaroom showcase with the Minecraft, how they were manipulating the world and stuff, that was really cool. Yeah, like, I'm a Nintendo fanboy, but I have to admit that the other guys have some pretty nice lineups. So anyway, I'm gonna keep on building this, and yeah, let me know what you think about this year's E3 in the comments, if you've seen anything from it. If not, definitely tell me what you think about that once you've maybe taken a look at some of it. And yeah, I'll keep on working on this, and I'll show you what we get. Alright guys, so we are back. We're at the shopping mall. We're ready to go. We're going off into this store. No, we're kidding. I'm kidding. We're going to take a look at the final touches of the nether tunnel to the witch farm here. So sort of, I'll start over here actually. So we have our open area. It is a bit moodier, like I said it would be in the nether. And it looks less plain here. I'm not sure, because I'm using the same texture pack I was before. So I'm not sure if the moodiness is the reason it looks less plain now, or what, but you know, test world in the overworld, and then putting it into place here, I like it a lot better where it is here. So we've got sort of this asymmetrical roof, which maybe isn't exaggerated as much as it should be if it were like a modern design technically, but you know, we've got what we've got. And the oval, and we've got I like the sort of pop of color that we get with the floor, the spruce needle block dealies. And then this part of this sort of archway, before I designed it to be a bit less open, and then sort of by accident I just didn't I forgot to put a few blocks in, a few half slabs, and now it's a bit more open than it was, and I sort of replaced that though. That was a full block, but it looked too bulky, too nub-like to fit well. And we've got our nether brick fences all around, sort of drawing the eye up a little bit against the pale stone slabs. And we got disconnected. Interesting. We're going to try that once again. See what happens. There we go. We're just going to roll with it. I'm not going to cut that out. So yeah, they draw the eye up. They sort of give it a bit more height, especially in the hallway here, since the hallway's only 1, 2, 3, it's 4 high, but still. We have minus a half block in the middle here, and you know, it's not very wide, so the height kind of the illusion of height kind of helps out a bit, especially since it's not like a long hallway. It's a very, well, if it were a long hallway, I would have put rails down, of course. So yeah, we have that, and then the transition into the corner, I've sort of did it on the fly. It kind of resembles the main room there a little bit in sort of the way it curves, and I thought, and it might have been in the influence of the indie games I was watching presentations for from the E3 floor at the time I was doing this, but it felt very organic when I was doing it. And it looks very organic and fits really well as it is. Up the ceiling here, you can see this sort of line here. Instead of just continuing all the way over there, I divided it up between the two possible pathways. Sort of gave something a bit more to look at up there. I used some stairs there, which don't appear anywhere else in the build, I don't think. And yeah, it sort of turned out a nice way to accommodate the corner. These parts were kind of awkward in that, you know, I wanted to curve the wall to make it, like if these columns were one more block thick, it would have been a smooth transition and whatnot. But so now we sort of have these weird window-like bits that you can't really walk into or anything, but I think they look nice. They don't function at all, except in that the form is their function, which, you know, I usually think of things as either being made for function or for form, but I don't usually think of well, I'm trying more to think of the form being the function of certain things and trying to find the value in that. Anyway, so we've got that all finished up, and I think we're gonna end the episode here. So if you liked it, I'm going to not face the zombie pigmen in case I accidentally hit them. But definitely leave a like, and we'll see you next episode when we do a thing. Goodbye! I almost hit a zombie pigman. That could have been not good.